Ordinarily, I'm not the biggest fan of zombie films, but when it's a zombie film with a twist, I will give it a go. For example, I like them if they're as dark and intense as Shaun of the Dead. It is intense, and it's dark because of the humour. It's very brutal, but it's funny as. And that's why I watched Cockneys vs. Zombies, because I thought, well, if we're going to do this as a comedy, maybe it will have the same kind of humour. Obviously, nowhere near as good as Shaun of the Dead. And that is my reference point, because I don't think I've seen any other comedy zombie films. I've read a couple of comedy zombie books, oddly, but I think this is the my point of reference. You know, it can be done well. This one is interesting as long as you don't take it seriously and don't expect that much from it. It's also got a really good cast, which really, well, surprised me more than anything. It was released in 2012, directed by Matthias Hoene, or Hoene, I apologise, definitely mispronounced that. And stars among others Rasmus, Hardiker, Harry Treadaway, Michelle Ryan, Tony Gardner. I really like Tony Gardner, quite a big fan of his work. So that was certainly not what I was expecting. As for the film itself, it is what it sounds like. You have a bunch of Cockneys, Londoners, battling against these zombies. It's actually, as the description says, a gang of bank robbers. So there's a bit more meat to it than that. It's not just random people. The characters have a little bit more of a backstory and a little bit more of a personality than I was expecting. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's got more meat to it than certainly what I felt it would. And it's relatively well developed. The narrative isn't that intense. It's under an hour and a half. The narrative, what is there, develops quite well. We go from A to B quite nicely. The level of action is good. The humour is often quite silly. And that works well with this kind of film. It's nothing eye-opening. It's nothing that unique. But the way in which it is a bit more unique is that it, in a way, parodies the zombie film, but does it well. Usually this kind of film is poorly received. It's got 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb, which is pretty decent. That's not that bad at all. Obviously, when you compare it to things like Shaun of the Dead, you are not playing in the same park. It's completely different. But then the narrative itself is quite different as well, with the way it develops, at any rate. Would I recommend it? Only if you want something fun and silly and something that you must not take seriously. I'm not sure what the budget was, or if I even find out. IMDb has changed its layout and I absolutely detest it. I hate the new layout. But yeah, I don't know what the budget was. The silly new IMDb layout doesn't tell me immediately. But I imagine they put a lot of effort into this. Visually, it looks good. The presentation is good. It ticks all of the right boxes from a technical aspect. You just have to know what you're getting yourself into. If it sounds like your kind of thing, give it a go. You probably won't be disappointed.